Grant Denya now.
It's Grant Denya.
The gold Logie this year. Oh my God, it's Grant Denya.
And our mum, Chezzi Denya. She's really crazy. And
George,
affectionately known
as Large Sarge. It's all true.
It's All True, the podcast with Grant and Chezzi Denya.
and
George.
Gee, it's good to be in the headlines again, guys. You know what I mean? We went into this podcast hoping to break some big media ground, you know, shake the establishment, kind of tackle the media titans with this tiny little podcast. And I tell you what, the last 7 days we've done exactly that. Record-breaking downloads for the podcast.
Yep.
That was when George and I weren't here.
Yeah.
And then to back it up, boom, baby, we're in the news because Chezzi had Jizz Eye.
That is so weird when there's a story in news.com.au titled Jizz Eye.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I'd never thought I'd ever see those words written in a national newspaper.
I'm just going to pull up the headlines.
Or a regional newspaper. Just Jizz Eye in general is something that you never thought would ever be a thing.
I don't think I've ever seen written, let alone, you know, in a newspaper. You know, they're supposed to be the bastions of the English language, you know, the people who are in charge of keeping decorum and class in the media landscape. And then they tune into this little old podcast, and what do they write about? Chezzi's Jizz Eye.
Right, so just looking up the headlines, the last 24 hours, the headlines are Get a Medic, Denya collapses while filming.
Okay.
More on that, coming up.
Okay, that's for The Amazing Race, just in case you're wondering. We'll talk about that later.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say you seem okay right now.
Yeah.
I'm definitely up and about.
Grant Denya wife reveals X-rated story behind significant eye injury. Mm-hmm. Denya's wife may lose eye.
Whoa.
Well, that's aggressive.
Really?
Doctor's odd theory about star's eye injury.
Doctor's odd theory. Oh, your doctor's odd theory. Yep, that would make sense. And if you didn't make the last episode, and maybe I feel we should probably explain it if you haven't heard it. Chezzi had an eye injury, went to the hospital. Hospital says
it's
you've
serious.
got chlamydia of the eye. How do you get chlamydia of the eye, Chezzi says?
Let's just say, they didn't say, have I got chlamydia of the eye? They were suggesting, because I didn't have a temperature, that I possibly might not be what I thought it was.
All signs lead to chlamydia eye, is what the doctor was saying. And then we were like, we've never heard of chlamydia eye. What is chlamydia eye? How do you get it? And they said, well, you have to have some sort of sexual act with your partner, and they might have chlamydia, including.
I think you can get it from other ways other than like ejaculating in your eye.
That was his example.
He
was the doctor and the professional. Who are we to criticise how on earth it happened? That's how he explained it happened. And we're like, why on earth do you go to that as a first diagnosis?
And that is true, because I've spoken to 2 doctors, actually Grant's sister and husband. We spoke to them about it, and they couldn't stop laughing. They were like, we can't believe he went there first.
And they were like, we've known Chezzi for 15 years now, and to be honest, that diagnosis makes complete sense. And I was like, whoa, I've been away and filming in Hamilton Island. What's going on here?
Yeah.
But as like doctors and as close family and friends to you guys, were they able to say like this is a common thing? People do get chlamydia of the eye through these acts?
They do, but not common.
No, it's not that common.
Which is why I think that doctor should be sacked for saying it to a beautiful wife of 3 children, of saying that might be the first diagnosis.
Well, he didn't know, and I was an enigma, remember, because I didn't have a temperature. Because I am strange.
Well, from now on, anytime you look up Chezzi Denya
on
Google for the next 10 years, the
Jizz
first
Eye
article that'll come up will be Jizz Eye. You'll forever be known as the Jizz Lady.
Yeah. So
I mean, we like debunk headlines on this podcast, and we've always wanted to make headlines from the podcast, you know, from the great content we put out. It's nice to know that all we had to do was have a very serious eye infection.
they love a sensationalised story.
The Alien Association of Queensland. We've spoken to the first female Australian astronaut. We've spoken to people who are game changers in childhood care. We have spoken to the highest echelons of society. And that's what gets written about from this podcast. That's what
we're all about.
Squirt. Yep.
Oh, stop.
Jizz Eye.
Stop. So, okay, I've got an update on the eye, and I got a message this morning from somebody who works at 7 News, and they said we've had heaps of people.
Koshi?
Probably. He loves a good eye story.
He loves a good eye story.
And he's very fond of koalas.
Chlamydia reference, if you're wondering.
No.
They often have chlamydia.
No, I've not.
Does he use the koala to polish his bald head?
Oh,
Is that what he does with the koala?
So I had a message from...
Oh, hi, Nat. Oh, yes, I'm on Sunrise this morning. Got to polish me head. Oh, how's the Dow Jones looking?
What's the Kosh doing these days? Do we know?
Financy stuff.
Working with koalas.
He's on a few boards. I think that's what you do.
So
The board of Taronga Zoo. Just taking koalas home.
So I need to give...
Koala Association.
I need to give an update on the eye. So, George, the eye went next level, right? You only know me when I got out of hospital, okay? So we thought that it was all fixed and cured. I felt amazing last week when I recorded the podcast. A little bit loose, but, you know, happy.
Had a bit of pain meds?
Well, I didn't have any pain meds, but it was just because my eye finally
I saw you injecting heroin back there in the cupboard. That's what you were doing.
Oh my God, there's so many headlines to come out of this podcast. Oh, actually, no, there won't be because they don't listen. They just take sensationalized headlines.
Yeah, from your Instagram. So it's your fault.
That is my fault, yeah. So I had to go in and have a procedure on my eye, George.
Like a proper operation. It's escalated big time since the last episode. Okay.
Like the game operation.
Let me take you back, all right? Podcast is finished. My eye starts to feel a little bit twitchy, okay? By that night, I had developed a very large lump on my eyelid. It was grotesque, as Grant will attest.
Yeah, it's pretty significant. It looked like a third eyeball.
It was like real gross. And I could actually pick it up and move it. It was bleh. So I kept complaining about my eye, and it was starting to impinge on my vision. And I was a bit of a whinger because whenever I would drive, I'd have to lift my eyelid up to drive, and I just really probably left it again a little bit too long. And on Monday, I had sought some medical advice, and they said I really need to go and see an eye specialist because, you know, it was starting to affect my vision. So got a referral, went in, saw an eye specialist, and the eye specialist, much to my horror, said that there was a procedure that they could do where they, and Grant will have to explain it because it makes me feel physically ill. I asked Grant to be really quiet while the procedure was happening because he wanted to come and watch because he's gross. And
excuse me.
Sorry. Well, you are. You're
our
gross.
7-year-old and I, we like to at night time just put on a bit of YouTube and watch a bit of pimple popping, a bit of Dr. Pimple popping, you know, from the States.
Unwell.
Therapeutic.
Or just general pimple popping. No one else in the house likes it. Everyone else is put off by it, but we think it's pretty cool. So when he said there is a chance that he might have to lance this big sort of, you know, boil thing on her eye.
It wasn't a boil. No, okay, now you're making it seem really gross. It was you have oil glands on your eyelids.
25 oil, like lines that run from the top to the bottom across your eyelid that excrete oil to kind of, you know, keep your eyelid
lubricated.
Your eyeball lubricated.
And so what's happened, one of my oil glands has been like infected last week, and the infection went all to my eye, as we know, and all around. So then I've treated the infection with the antibiotics, and then it's just localized, but it's trapped. So he said that the chances of it resolving by itself were pretty slim.
Wow.
His suggestion was to do ocuplastics. And so we went with that, and it was awful. They put a needle in your eye and...
Yeah, injection straight in the eyelid. No, I didn't want to watch that bit, to be honest. I was like, no, I'm out for that.
It numbs your eye, and then they put like a thing over your face, I guess, so you can't see it. Then they use this little machine to turn your eyelid inside out, and then...
Well, you couldn't feel it at that stage. It was literally just a pair of pliers, and he yanks on it and flips it over.
Oh, wait, are you awake or asleep at this point?
She's
awake.
What?
I know. So they give you eye drops to put in first to numb your eye before they give you the needle. And everybody who was giving me the eye drops, the nurses and the doctor, kept saying, you know, this is going to sting. That didn't sting at all. But my eye felt amazing.
Because I had no pain for the first time.
Yeah.
You had all the anaesthetic in there.
So I couldn't even feel discomfort and so I started thinking, God, it must have been a bit painful in the past week on and off, like that pressure.
Yeah.
So you got used to it, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is what having a normal eye feels like.
Yeah.
You didn't realise? It's just because you're pretty grumpy for a week.
Yeah.
So we could tell that you're in pain, but you clearly had sort of become used to it.
I think so.
You hadn't told your face, though. Like, your face was pretty cranky. Like, you looked like you had the shits the whole time.
It's a frustration. Like, it's irritating. I can't tell you. It's like I've tried to show Grant.
We know.
It's like, you know, let me press your eyelid down. Now open up your eye and drive.
I'm a pirate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So now, like...
I feel like I've had a stroke. Yeah.
It's annoying.
Don't touch me.
Isn't it? It's annoying.
May I ask, Chezzi, like, is there a reason why it took so long for you to eventually go back to the doctors? Like, were you just too proud or wanted to let it do its thing or what's
because Chezzi's a pseudo doctor, right? So she knows best.
No, I don't know best. I asked every medical expert and everybody kept saying, finish your antibiotic course and it will go away.
A builder's house is never finished. A plumber's taps are always dripping. A doctor refuses help. And Chezzi thinks she's a doctor, so she refuses help.
It's not true.
It's exactly true.
It's not true. No, I asked, like, I was probably 3 days from finishing my antibiotics when the lump, it just kept getting bigger, so I couldn't.
She had hope that it would sort of resolve itself.
Yeah. Well, I don't know anybody who has ever had this procedure. Do you?
No, I don't know anyone who's had.
Do you?
Jizz Eye.
Apparently, it's quite common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jizz Eye 2.0.
A blocked sort of tear duct or whatever it is. Yeah.
So he had to cut it open, and the doctor was like amazing, and
We're talking scalpel, brother. We're talking scalpel to the underside of your eyelid, right next to your eyeball. Scalpel.
Wow.
Scalpel. So I've told Grant you can't say anything. I also said to the doctor, please do not say a word, and he's a pretty quiet man anyway.
He's a professional.
I could feel a bit of pulling, and then all of a sudden I heard him go, oh, jackpot. And Grant goes, oh, my God. And I was like, hey, guys, I'm still here. Please stop saying anything. Awful feeling.
Yeah. He runs the blade down the underside of the ball of pus, and just this nuclear waste just comes out. This sort of gross. Luminous green just bubbles out. And I'm like, whoa, hell.
I'm so sorry for everyone listening. It was
like a toxic kind of vibe.
Oh, it was pretty incredible.
So anyway, then they patch you back up, and then they put an eye patch on, and it felt pretty good until that night. And about 3 a.m. I wanted to rip my eyeball out. It was so sore and itchy.
Because he had to also dig around inside the incision to remove the sac, so not just the contents of what had been the pressure had been released, but the sac that was holding all the fluid in it. You know, that's pretty physical work getting that out. You know what?
It's so gross.
This might be too much content for 2 days, 2 episodes.
I bet you appreciate your eyes so much now, though, don't you? You go, thank you very much, God, or whoever, for allowing me to be able to see, because you go, like, they're so delicate, your eyes.
Do you know what? I feel like it might be a lesson in trying to work on your other senses. You know, when you knock out one sense, I don't know if you've ever done it, but if you've ever had like an ear infection and you can't hear, then you realize how important your sight is, or if you like I kept asking for an eye patch. I kept saying, if I just cover up my eye, it feels so much better. Well, that's not true, because when they put the patch on, you don't have peripheral vision, and it's like people would walk around the corner in my house and it would scare the crap out of me. And so I kept thinking, maybe there's something in this. Maybe it's like I need to work on my third eye.
Wow, your spiritual eye.
Yeah. Have you ever knocked out one of your?
Well, since your eye was covered, and maybe you were going backwards in the kitchen, maybe you had to use your brown eye to see in reverse, like a reverse camera.
An important eye.
You know what I mean? Beep, beep, beep. Kids, I can't see with my actual eye. I'm going to need my brown eye to see. Beep. That I don't bump into one of you. Beep.
The kids were being little brats. Like, they thought it was hilarious. They get to scare mum again. So they're like, I got a box in the kitchen. I'm trying to put in baby clothes for my sister-in-law. And like, I'd walk past and they'd go, rah! And like, all I'd see is like little fingers out of the corner of my eye because my eye's blocked. And I'm like, whoa.
Well, that, and you don't have a great sense of judgment of distance. You know,
No.
'cause you need two eyes to
that's the other
evaluate
thing.
how far away things are.
Yeah, so I'd go to grab something and I'd be missing it, or I'd go to, past, your depth. Is that what it's called? Yeah.
Depth perception. Does your balance get a bit weird too? Is that a thing, or is that maybe if you like remove your big toe?
You were bumping into things.
Was that? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So have you ever lost like sight or hearing, or?
I actually, probably this time last year in one of my eyes, I had like a massive pussy kind of ball appear like directly underneath the eye, and it puffed up so much that, I couldn't see out of the eye, but I just got antibiotics and it did its thing over time. But yeah, it's a horrible, horrible thing to get.
Wow. It is horrible. And even though I'm like 5 days post operation, it's still irritating me. So I have to, put cream in my eye 4 times a day, and it's annoying.
Well, it's an incision, right? The skin's got to heal. He said the skin underneath the eyelid heals exceptionally well, like and quite quickly, because it's a protected environment under there.
Yeah.
But it's still an incision, so you got to be patient.
Patience isn't something I'm very good at, but
we've noticed.
I'm learning. To be more patient. So so that was pretty funny to be asked for an update.
I'm looking at your side on now, and you're worried about that bulge coming back, but I actually can't see it. It looks pretty good.
Does that?
From my perspective, the eyes look fine.
Yeah,
better than last episode.
Yeah, better than Mankai that you had.
Oh,
it's pretty gross. Just being
okay.
around you was uncomfortable.
So last night the Amazing Race trailer came out, and
It looks so good.
Oh my God, it's hectic. We're actually not allowed to really say anything about it. But expect more from us in the next few weeks when it comes out on air.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Look, I guess we can describe what's in the ad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a tuk-tuk.
Yeah, saw some tuk-tuk action. Jesus Christ, I thought I was going to die on one of those things. Far out. They ain't joking over there.
Your facial in that trailer was like...
We nearly had a couple of bloody head-ons, if you don't remember.
I do remember our crew ran into us.
Our crew tuk-tuk crashed into us.
Yeah. It was like we pulled up and then we got hit from behind. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. Wherever we are in this
and wherever
scenario,
we go,
it was crazy traffic. And you're too afraid to put an arm or a limb or a head out because it'll just get lopped off by another passing tuk-tuk.
Yeah. And that's what happened, I think, when you when they got that shot where you went to put your arm out or you went to look back and then someone came past pretty quickly.
Yeah, I was nearly headless.
It was pretty crazy.
You're worried about an eye injury.
Yeah.
I nearly didn't have a head.
Yeah.
That's true.
Right. Okay, and it's all true exclusive for our tens of thousands of listeners. How are you feeling about the episodes dropping? Is it excitement? Is it nerves? Is it... please just get it over and done with? What is it? What's the feeling?
I'm nervous. I don't know. I don't know why. I think just seeing, because we haven't seen anything, so seeing like
No, it's the
little
first time we've seen a single frame of the show.
Yeah, and the only shot that you see of me was where I was tending to Grant, and I was like, oh my God, I look a wreck.
Are you complaining that you weren't in the promo enough? Is
No,
that
no.
what I'm hearing?
No, because I just looked at myself and I was like, oh, it was rough.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
want to talk about the incident at all, or just how you looked?
No, just how I looked, yeah.
That's a
pretty rough.
cliffhanger. People are like,
Wow.
oh,
Yeah.
even I'm like, what the heck?
George, would you like to explain what you saw in the promo?
Yeah, you two in a tuk-tuk. I saw Bo Ryan at the very start in the first second.
Yeah, Byron. Did you see anything else? Did you see us at another point in there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did.
And what?
I think I did, like towards the end.
Yeah. What happened?
I
You didn't watch the entire ad.
No, you hear me?
Oh, George.
I'm trying to remember.
You couldn't
hear-
even make it through a minute and a half.
You hear me say, we need the medic in a really weird, choky kind of voice. And then I say, Grant, like this really weird, like, Grant. And Grant is like lying on the ground.
George is now looking up the promo because he realises he didn't watch it all the way to the end.
I'm watching it now.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
I'm
not
There we go.
our
Explain,
promo.
all right, explain what
That
you
was
see.
not even our podcast.
No.
It was someone else's podcast. Yes, no, I know what you're referring to. I'm concerned.
Yeah, you're concerned because why? What do you see? What are you seeing in the promo that makes you
I'm going to
concerned?
give you a bit of a live play-by-play.
Yeah, do it.
All these celebrities on the screen.
For those who
right now.
haven't seen
Bo
the
Ryan,
ad, here's an audio description.
England. All right, Ben and Jackie. They're
Jackie Gillies.
King George and Sister Pam. They're just going through the celebrities right now.
Yeah, twice winner of Survivor, King George.
Okay, people on the ground fanning. Lots of fans at the moment. I had Beck,
very
Judd,
hot.
and her sister.
Yep.
Cows. Oh, I see a bit of what appears to be poo.
Yep, a bit of
Cow poo.
Cow poo.
Actually, Grant and Chezzi Denya. There you go. Can we get the medic Grant? He's shaking. He's shivering.
Yeah. And in what position am I in, George?
You're on your side. You're on the ground.
Ooh, man down.
And it doesn't look good. You weren't really moving either.
Man down.
So look, if I can just go through a story that's come out on news.com.au, who were the first people apparently to have a look at this trailer. The Gold Logie winning Aussie TV star is seen receiving medical attention in this dramatic scene from the Amazing Race Celebrity Edition. Says the first look teaser collates some of the most tense scenes from the series, airing on 10 in October. Runs through what the objective of the show is, and then talks a little bit about Beck Judd sitting in a tuk-tuk, and she says, I would love an iced latte as a woman approaches the tuk-tuk, apparently begging for money.
I don't know if that was a woman. Just
No, I think that might have
I
been a...
believe it was a bit of both.
Right. Judd screams in her face. And then next up you see two-time Australian Survivor player George Milavnovot.
Okay.
Is shown
Great
fanning
job, you
his
butchered
I love
younger
that you
sister.
cast members just know each other so well.
Yeah. George, we just called him King George.
Yeah.
He's fanning his
AJ.
younger sister Pam as she appears overcome by the heat. But it's Denya who provides the trailer's most dramatic moment.
Whoop, whoop. The man knows how to make a promo.
Attended to by the show's medical team as wife Chezzi watches on. Can we get a medic? He's shaking, he's shivering. A voice can be heard saying as Denya lies on his side on the ground, apparently unable to move.
Okay.
Is it because somebody stole your gold logie?
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Do you know, George, before we went on filming the show, you gave us a couple of challenges. Do you remember
I was
what they
wondering,
were?
did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you? We gave you some code words. We gave you some
Yes.
keywords that are related to the It's All True podcast.
Yep.
And hopefully you were going to be able to drop them through the TV series.
If all goes to plan.
Yeah.
If all goes to plan, and I'm not not in control.
Yeah, we
of
haven't seen the
suite,
edits, but
you are going to be greatly satisfied.
yeah.
Oh man, because I think from memory I even recorded what these words were going to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
On a voice memo, and yeah, hopefully. Oh,
Now, when
wow,
this is
that's
going to
exciting.
air, when this episode eventually goes to air, we'll get you to replay those words, and then
Yeah.
we'll replay the episode to see if we were mission successful.
Yeah.
Now, we're not allowed to talk
Brilliant.
about this at the moment.
No, so we're
in
not.
other greater detail than you've seen in the promo, but it is big, it is dramatic, it is somewhat frightening, and it is real drama, not fabricated, reality TV, producer, concocted, made up crap.
Would you say The Amazing Race is the hardest show you have ever been on?
Mate, King George, the second, who's won Survivor twice, said he's won Survivor twice because he mentions it all the time. And he said this was way, way harder, much harder than Survivor. Yana Pittman,
Wow.
3-time Olympian, said it's the hardest thing she's ever done.
Even harder than SAS.
Even harder than SAS. And we know what
How's
sick
that?
bastards they are over on that
Wow.
show.
And Jackie Gillies said that this is so much harder than the Jungle Show, which she found really hard.
Yeah.
I'm a Celebrity, sorry.
Yeah.
the title. It was tough. So
Ben Gillies, her husband, said it was harder than handling all the groupies in Silverchair in the 90s. He said that's how hard it was.
well, that's pretty hard.
That would have been tough.
'Cause they had-
tough days.
They're like our age.
Yeah.
All those groupies. Ferals. So expect more on The Amazing Race as the episodes start to roll out. We'll give you a full blow-by-blow rundown after each episode goes to air.
And I promise you this, it is way more dramatic than you even think,
Yeah.
than you imagine. It's...
I'm actually getting heart palpitations.
I can't
thinking
wait.
about
I'm
it.
kind of frightened. I'm kind of scared to watch it now.
Same. I thought I was going to give up chocolate again, and I just, after watching that last night, I'm back into it.
I've given up tuk-tuk riding, that's for sure. I ain't doing that again. That's too bloody dangerous.
There's a
Classic.
great tuk-tuk community in the central west of New South Wales. So
When I first saw my tuk-tuk over there, I said, I'm going to buy one of those and bring them back to Bathurst and cruise around. How much fun would that be?
Nah,
And
I
now,
saw a
bloody
tuk-tuk
hell.
accident, and it was not
Nah.
nice.
They're not the safest thing. No side intrusion bars in a tuk-tuk. No airbags in a tuk-tuk.
No.
the tuk-tuk 1000.
No.
Wouldn't that be mad?
That'd be
Have
pretty
you ever
sick.
been in a tuk-tuk, George?
Yeah, for a production of Wicked, funnily enough, Fierro comes in on a tuk-tuk.
No way.
Yeah, so I was in the tuk-tuk on stage. So I didn't do like a long distance. I did probably 20 metres in it.
Where did you do Wicked?
That was in Bathurst. Yeah, I was the understudy for Fierro, and the guy who was playing him was really sick for about 3 weeks leading up to the show. And I'm like, hell yeah,
Poison.
I'm going to play Fierro.
Weirdly, had
Yeah.
you given him an odd tasting pasta the night before?
Yeah. The
No,
old-
he had Jizz Eye.
yeah.
oh, that's wrong.
And he came back very well and healthy, and I was so happy about that. So
Yeah.
After you
Chezzi and
played
we met in a tuk-tuk actually, and she took my breath away.
oh yeah, that's good. I like that.
Thank you.
We need to fix that clap.
That's right, Fields. I'll just fade it down.
It's a deserving clap. It's a deserving joke. A very long clap. Took my breath away.
That's actually very clever. Grant's very good with the jokes, especially the smutty ones
I
when
don't
he's
know.
tired.
I don't know
aren't you?
about that.
You are very good with the jokes.
I'm not sure about that.
So I just did before I jumped on this podcast, I just had to do like a global presentation talking about facing criticism and facing criticism in the spotlight. And what I prepared was so much more than what they actually wanted to hear. So I was like, I don't know. I just started thinking back to when you first encounter your first criticisms and then analysing it a bit and just putting it all onto paper. And so much came out.
Oh. Had
Like
a lot
so
of
much.
criticisms?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you think about it, I guess we all have if you tallied them all together, from being a kid to an adult.
Yeah, and that's what. So they wanted me to talk about facing criticism, like while being in the spotlight, and that just felt a bit unfinished, or just felt like part of a much bigger story. So I started thinking back to when the first few criticisms that I could really remember. Can you think back to when you were first criticised, or what the
would have been? I would have been a kid. It would have been either making a mess or, mucking up or, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, like playing up, getting in trouble from your parents for doing something naughty.
Yeah, knocking something over, smashing something or spilling something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can see all my notes here.
Oh
I'm
my
not going to
God,
go.
how many pages have you got?
Yeah.
Mate,
Well, I realised that I wrote a keynote speech.
Chezzi, the moment someone asks you to do something, you say, how long would you like me to speak for? Because it might be 30 seconds.
Yeah, no.
Or it might be 5 minutes. But you've got to ask that question because you've just done a ton of work by the look of that.
But it was actually really cathartic. I had to
Oh my
condense
God,
it in
you've
my
got
mind.
like
I know
15 pages.
I've written part of my personal book, I think. But it was really, really cathartic. So I wanted to talk about it.
Why don't you
Okay.
dot point them? Just
Because that's not how my brain works. I don't know. Like this is as dot pointing as I can. Look.
Jesus, I need to book you in for some counselling sessions because you've got a lot of trauma to try and heal there.
Hey,
judging
mate.
by that novel.
Mate, your
15 pages of criticism. Like, when were you
criticisms
asked,
roll off me.
when were you asked to do this? Like, how long did you have to create these 15 pages of words?
Well, I was asked to speak a month ago.
Right.
And it had been, I don't know why. I'm okay with speaking. Like, we just emceed a wedding on the weekend that Grant gets really nervous at doing, but that doesn't make me as nervous. What?
No.
But today I was really nervous. I don't know why. I was really nervous.
Because this is what I said to you the other day. I'm really good at things I don't care about, but things that are very important either to me or to those that are there, like, your family wedding, I get nervous. So obviously this was important to you.
Yeah,
The wedding
was
wasn't
strange.
because, you left me to do most of it.
I was going to say, well, obviously wasn't that important to you, Chezzi.
No.
That's really harsh because it was important
Oh,
to
was
me,
it?
but I just didn't feel as stressed about that. But
Yeah, because you didn't care as much. But that's good.
no, I did care as much, but maybe I've had more experience in speaking in that term. There's a format, whereas this
Maybe it's
wasn't,
an easier topic.
and that is true.
I hadn't been to many
Yeah.
weddings, so I was a bit nervous because I didn't know how they worked.
Yeah. So I think the experience in stuff. I mean, this is talking about, very personal.
What was your first one?
So I was trying to think back and I thought I used to jump on the trampoline for hours when I was really young, probably 4 or maybe 5. And I used to always say to my parents that I was just out there talking with my friends, and I'd sing and I'd dance and I'd just, if I could close my eyes and picture these friends, they weren't real, they were imaginary, and they were, I don't know, maybe they were spirits.
Could have been.
Yeah.
From what we know now, it could have been.
And so I think that my parents used to say, okay, you've got to come in now. But I never wanted to come in because I just wanted to hang out with my friends. And I remember telling my auntie once, that the things that I do, I've been jumping on the trampoline and learning new tricks with my friends and talking to them from different parts of the world. Blah, blah. And I remember her face being very judgmental and was like, well, that's a bit weird. And I remember her saying some backhanded comment about me having too many imaginary friends and it's not very healthy.
Who was this person that said this?
My auntie.
Right.
Well, you don't really know this auntie because we're not very close. But it was just a really backhanded comment. But I remember feeling a bit
Judged, shamed?
yeah, a bit weird. And so I guess that kind of laid, a foundation. And then I remember also being at school once.
Are we going to go through all 15 pages
No.
right now? Like, do I need to go and get another coffee?
Oh my God. I remember being at school once and I remember seeing a whole flock of crows. And I said, I can talk to the crows. Like the crows, they're saying something. And I remember these people were like, oh my God, you are so weird. So that's my first kind of feelings of criticism. And I remember it during those points thinking, I am weird and I have to retreat. I can't be myself because I am a bit weird. Because I genuinely believed that they were trying to give us a message. I still to this day, and I'm much more comfortable now and I did say in my speech today that being with Grant was probably the first time that I felt like that weirdness could come out.
That's two people who have both accused you of the same thing. What is that? What might that suggest?
So I'll look out the windows now and I'll be like,
what do the crows say to you now, Chezzi, as they fly past?
I'll be like, there's a whole flock of crows out there. It means buh, don't I? Because I'm in a safe space. Every day. Or I say, oh my God, there's 3 owls.
We still don't know what any of that means, but we see patterns of birds.
We do.
What's the weirdest thing a bird said to you?
Fuck.
Oh my God. This is no longer a safe space.
Oh, weird.
Well, how are you taking the criticism now?
Yeah, the bird said it, not a person.
Do you know what? I'm not going to dull my shine anymore for you.
You're a weirdo. You're a weirdo.
For you non-believers.
No, I believe it. I
can't laugh too hard because otherwise I'll blow a puffer valve out my eye.
I think it's very common that at some point we've all, particularly you're learning, your personality's evolving and learning, and we all, a kid enjoys playtime, right? So you're often experimenting in either games or your personality's developing, so you're just sort of going in and out of different phases, and at some point you'll try something new and someone will clamp down on that. Right, and then you go, oh, I can never do that again, or I can never behave that way again
because it goes
it's been
back
slapped.
to,
and you're learning. And when you're a kid, you're learning what is supportive and what is a potential danger. So when someone has a crack at a certain way you're behaving, you then shield everyone from that and you hold it in.
That's right, but you eventually implode. It has to come out somewhere. So that's you can't be
you develop a distrust of people and a distrust of your own feelings, so you only let so much out, right? Yes, and that does become problematic behaviour because you don't feel that you can be yourself because of the judgment and blowback that you get. Because
back in the caveman days, if you were rejected, you were out on your own and you needed to fit in with the crowd.
Well, your survival depended on it. You needed to be part of a community to be able to, the community kept everyone safe from, the attacking saber-toothed tiger or whatever, the pterodactyl. And so, if you're kicked out of the cave at night, that meant you had to sort of fend for yourself. So your life depended on it. That's why, other people's opinion becomes very important to us because it actually did, your survival did depend on it.
And so what I realised was that somewhere throughout my life, the outer critics, like the critics who were calling me weird and, wacky and crazy and all those, kinds of things that I've heard all my life, that then started to become my inner dialogue. So I'd go to put something on and, to wear for the day, and I'd think, oh, no, that's too weird. No. Oh, gosh, you're so weird. You're so weird. It was just this cycle, this continuation of these criticisms. And I actually think that in joining up my mediumship stuff last year and starting to do more work on my intuitive self for me has definitely helped block other people's criticisms. It's like it started to put up a bit of an
block
energy
them,
force.
or it just takes the power out of them? They have no effect on you.
Well, to me, that's blocking it.
Okay. Yep.
Because it can't penetrate me because I have a little force field around me. It's just me and the birds.
Force field of crows?
It's not just crows, it's also eagles and it's all birds. I've never been so fascinated in all birds in my life.
Yeah.
That's what I am.
But any bird type will fly past and you go, oh, there it is. Some swallows.
Well, I'm
and
still yet to look up what swallows mean.
But they're swallows.
Yeah.
But you do it for crows, magpies, owls, hawks, eagles.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's...
Well, I don't do it for parrots. No.
Kookaburras?
I did see a baby kookaburra the other day at the service station, and it was like the little fluffy thing sitting up quite high. And yeah, it was only that I saw a crow fly in and the crow sat next to it. That's what caught my eye. I was like,
look, I'm no medium expert, but I think that's... You need to get to a level where you understand what and those birds represent, rather than just, pointing them out.
To me, crows represent take note. Yeah. Be aware something is about to happen. Something you need to keep your eyes open. Quite funny considering you only had one eye.
Oh, there you go, mate. It was still letting you know. Watch out, you're going to have a crooked eye.
Yeah, possibly, because I started listening to you two fools and stopped listening to my inner crow.
Hey, look, we're more than happy for you to do this podcast by yourself, considering that's when the only time people listen.
Yeah.
So
You keep insulting us like that.
So I want to know,
The numbers will go up.
how do you deal with critics, and what is the harshest criticism you've ever heard or ever worn? Yeah, it's a tough one.
I'll go first. The straight up one for me is once I had a boss at a radio station, walked into the little voice booth I was in. I was doing the news, and it was very, very early on in my, which is already still a short media career. But I was on work experience, maybe, potentially. And this boss came in and just outright took my headphones off, played back the story that I had put to air, went for 3 minutes. It was a bulletin, and outright just said, "That was shit. Oh, you are shit."
Oh my God. No constructive.
No feedback on this is what.
No,
there was nothing constructive about that criticism. It was just outright just mean.
That's bullying.
Just nasty.
That's
Oh my
not even a
God.
shit sandwich where they go, "That was crap. This bit was good. That bit was crap." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you sort of dress it up.
So
I just had the bread of the shit sandwich.
Or the
just
nice
shit.
bit. Really what you should do is a nice bit, shit bit, nice bit,
So how did you take that? How did you?
Well, because I was quite young, like I hadn't even been turned 18 yet. I stewed over that for a very long time, and was very afraid to be in the presence of that person, or for that person to hear any of my stuff moving forward. So it took me years to really kind of move on from that incident. So yeah, I don't know. I just knew it happened and did everything I could to make the bulletins less shit moving forward.
No, but
That's a lot of pressure.
That doesn't
though.
make anyone better. That rocks your confidence. It's such a fragile point where you're just learning your craft. You're learning. You're not an expert. Of course you're going to make mistakes. That's what beginners do. But a great environment nurtures that and creates a soft, gentle space for people to learn and make mistakes. And mistakes are a part of learning, right?
But I think now, if it was to happen again, my approach or the way I'd react to it would be completely different. It'd just be like, well, you're a very, very horrible person, and obviously like to put people down, and I'll just keep doing what I love, and if you're just going to say it's shit, well then, what about it is shit? Tell me, and I'll try and improve on it. But if you don't, then I'll keep on being shit then.
Well, it's nice to know that you've evolved from that. But yeah, God, the amount of damage that I'm sure would have been horrible.
Yeah, that's hard. It hurt people, and I think that if you keep that in perspective as well, you probably were really good.
I was told I was a shit journo when I was just starting out by an ABC journalist.
Yeah, right. So they were
But
jealous.
the other thing too, GD, I was doing the journalism thing to try and get into more of the entertainment side of things. So
was I. Yeah.
So it didn't really make me that sad. I was like, yeah, I'm not the greatest journalist, but this isn't ultimately what I don't want to be a Tracy Grimshaw one day. I want to be a Grant Denyer,
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. And look, just so you know, that Grant Denyer was also struggling when it was new, right? So I was terrible at a ton of things as well, because that's the natural part of, you got to start somewhere. Jeez.
Yeah, you have to learn.
No one starts out as an expert.
So did you retreat? Did you shrink away when you had that criticism?
Did you key their car or let their tyres down? What'd you do?
I would now if that I've got the courage that I've got now. But no, I just kept on doing the job, kept on keeping on really, because I knew there were a few people in that building that believed in me and gave me hope, and so I just did it for them, to be honest, and kind of blocked that all out.
Good work, man.
Do you know I once had a folder of 90 letters of rejection for various jobs? You know when you used to like send off your resume and it was a hard copy? Now it's all email, but
I don't know if I'd be keeping those.
yeah, I kept them because my dad said to me one day you'll be able to look back and it will give you a real fire in your belly to turn around and go, stuff you, I've overcome this. And I don't know where that folder is now.
And now you're in a promo for the Amazing Race Australia. Your first national television appearance. Hey, who's laughing now?
So, is that actually true?
I don't know, probably.
Well, as a proper cast member of something, yeah,
Oh, that's exciting.
I definitely hold up the entire production just on my own.
You do.
With these hands and this crusty eye. In a lot of those letters that I had, they all were slamming a physical part of me.
What?
Yeah. Doesn't that show you how much it's changed? So I was going for jobs in journalism, presenting, and something else. I can't remember. And it was like, your nose is a little bit crooked. You need to lose weight. Somebody said I needed to possibly have different hair color.
We did start out in the early 2000s.
Yeah, no, it was
a pretty savage.
It was
place back
It
then.
was late 90s actually,
Yeah,
so
true.
even worse. Yeah, you were able to say. I remember somebody once said to me, "You've had one too many Mars bars."
Wow.
And I was like, "Ouch."
I had someone say, "Can you please try and sound like a man?" Like a little kid's voice.
It's great for your masculinity.
Oh, that's harsh, isn't it?
Really
Oh.
good. As I was standing there in my borrowed tie from my grandfather.
Did you sound like this?
My one suit that I owned.
It's Grant,
Prime local news.
So what do you do when you cop a criticism?
Oh, mate, can I just say, your Scooby-Doo impersonation in the last
so
episode
good.
just far out, just had me in stitches.
Hey,
That's so good.
what's funny? The day after we recorded that, we had like this big pop culture convention thing in the town that I live in, and the guy who actually plays Scooby-Doo was at this convention. So I met him the following day, did my impression for him, and it was so bizarre
Are
how
you
that kind of
kidding
worked
me?
out. Yeah, not even kidding.
The real
It was
guy, what,
weird.
from
my
the
God.
movie or the cartoon?
So the guy who played Scooby-Doo in the Real People movies that was filmed on the Gold Coast.
Oh yeah.
So with like Freddie Prinze Jr. and all those other great actors. Yeah, Rowan Atkinson, he was in it.
Was he? So who was the actor who played Scooby-Doo?
He was just a really great actor that played Scooby-Doo.
A really good guy.
okay,
Really
yeah.
talented.
well-known
fellow.
dude. He's probably
Who sounded like this.
Scooby-Doo.
God, that is so good. Was he a little bit put off by you? Did you sound more Scooby-Doo than him?
We were on par, and I felt bad for being sort of very
So
similar to him.
I'm trying to think.
So
who
did you give
played
him
Thelma?
Jizz Eye? Get rid of it.
Someone famous played Thelma.
Velma.
Velma? Thelma? Whatever.
Velma with a V.
Oh, I can picture who it is. I can't. think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it? She got.
Oh, you know
I can
what?
see her nose.
I'm looking at the time. I want to know what your criticism story is while we look this up.
Scooby-Doo cast.
Yeah. Nah, man.
No.
Scooby Doo
Oh,
movie.
look.
Oh, I just got absolute stink eye from you then. Jesus.
So you had Sarah Michelle Gellar who did
Sarah
Daphne.
Michelle Gellar. That's who I was thinking of. Yeah.
And then you have
she wasn't Velma. Or
I know she
whatever.
wasn't Velma, but that's the actress I was thinking of.
Oh no.
Because I could remember that I could see the tip of her nose.
Why is that not going?
Linda Cardellini was Velma.
Oh yes, I know her. She's been.
Isla Fisher played Mary Jane, Shaggy's girlfriend in that movie.
Yeah, right. Oh,
Neil Fanning played Scooby-Doo. That's the bloke I spoke to. Neil Fanning.
Oh, bloody Neil.
Neil Fanning.
How's that, eh?
Oh, he looks
Ben
like
Meister.
Looks like
Shannon Knowles' brother.
Right.
He even had the Scooby-Doo head there at this convention.
Oh, the Scoobs.
Oh yeah. Oh wow.
Look at that bad boy. He was holding the head, doing a bit of gear with the Sarge on the radio. Yeah,
Yeah,
Neil
right.
Fano. Woo, Scooby-Doo.
That's cool.
That is awesome.
What is it, like a Comic-Con up there or something?
Yeah, it's called Capricorn.
Oh, that's pretty
Capricorn. Oh, that's pretty
cool.
cool.
I like it.
Okay, you've got 5 minutes. No rush. Criticisms.
I get them every day. What do you mean?
Well, do they sting? Do
What's
they
the
hurt?
hardest?
I'm a very sensitive person, so of course I take other people's opinions of me very seriously, and particularly when I was young, I had no self-confidence, no self-worth, so I never thought I was very good at anything. So when someone would say something about my performance, I would really take it to heart, and I'd take it very seriously because I wanted to get better, and I knew it wasn't good. So I was vulnerable to people who said careless things would cut me very deeply. Yeah, really deeply. Maybe too deeply. But sometimes, I think sometimes the softer you are too and the gentler you are, the more sensitive you are, more aggressive narcissistic types take advantage of that. And they use that as a form of power control. So they push you down by giving you lots of negative criticisms. So I've been in a few working relationships where that's been the case.
So how do you protect yourself from criticism?
You murder them, is what you do. I don't know. I've never found the answer, to be honest. It's still something, that you try. I've worked tirelessly to make myself as the best I can possibly be, so there is no room for criticisms. If I'm the absolute best at whatever it is that I do, then no one can criticize me. So I kind of worked like a maniac to improve my craft, so I was undisputedly the best.
And I get that, but that is very
I'm
difficult
not saying
to
I
uphold.
achieved that. No, of course, it's completely unrealistic. It's an exhausting way to live, and it's not the right way to do it. But that's what I did.
Yeah.
And now I'm in a slightly different place, where I'm a little bit more comfortable. But, criticisms were like bullets to me. They would penetrate my flesh and hurt me. They would cause me physical pain. So that's right. I just put 1,000% into improving myself, so no one could throw bullets at me. Yeah.
And what I've learned is that, as I said to you before, George, when people are really jealous or when they're really hurting, and you put yourself out there, you often become a target. Sometimes reframing it so that you think, this is more about them than it is about me. I don't know if that helps. But
that helps sort of take control back and take some of the power and sting out of what they say. Yeah, it's just saying that I don't know what's going on in that person's life. However, they might be going through some stuff and they're projecting on me.
Because criticism comes from fear. So,
and we're in a competitive industry too, mate. There's a lot of us fighting for very few jobs at the top. So, you're racing the person next to you up that ladder, to move ahead in your career. And so you're going to be around people who are jealous. They watch you naturally gifted, delivering every day, doing an amazing job, and that's going to annoy the shit out of them. So sometimes they can't help it but rattle your cage to try and knock you down a couple of rungs, so they can get ahead of you. So and I'm sure that there's lots of work environments where that is the case, no matter what industry you're in.
This work environment
is loving, a safe
there goes a
space.
bird.
There goes a crow.
Oh, I've got to go talk to it. No, I'm joking. I found that a really interesting topic. And
How long did they really want you to speak for?
15 minutes.
Yeah, true.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Fully 15 minutes. Well, yeah, you would have done 15.
No, I did about 35 minutes and then they said, we're going to have to wrap you up. But if anybody wants to stay back, we can ask questions. And everybody stayed back. But my babysitter was nowhere to be seen. So I had a screaming baby yelling out.
Oh, wow.
So my questions weren't answered very well. Yeah. But it was really interesting because I was really nervous about that, and I don't get nervous about a lot of things. So, and I don't know why I was nervous. It was, because it went better than expected. So
well done.
Thanks.
Nice work.
Can I just say, guys, and I know you've probably had just hundreds of comments and messages fly through after your episode on the Imperfects Grant. And I've seen, the social media videos pop up, and I've listened to the episode, and I've even had people reach out to me saying, can you give Grant and Chezzi like a massive hug? And I said, no, I can't, because I'm not in the same locality as them, but far out. I just want to give you guys a massive, massive hug. And, it was all stuff that we've spoken about on the podcast before, and things that we've sort of heard because it's always been very public. But man, we just love you both so much, and just the fact that you were so open and vulnerable, and yeah, people are going to be able to relate to that, and just walk out of that episode feeling a bit better, or have a bit of a clearer outlook on life. It was truly, such a great thing to listen to. I loved it. I loved it so much.
Oh, thank you, brother. Thanks for bringing it up.
It was amazing.
We have spoken about a lot of those things in the early stage of this podcast. You know, we were kind of open, you know, in that sort of first season or two about the struggles that we've had and the lessons that we've learned and the
still happening
improvements that we've made. It was kind of nice to sort of go back there, and because there's been more evolution since then, and I've learnt more things about myself. So when I sat down with the Imperfects and I just went with whatever it was that they came at me with, and I just kind of laid it all bare, and it was a really beautiful experience. You know, the boys created a lovely environment that just felt right to be able to share, you know, the deepest and darkest, and you know, the most embarrassing and sad, you know, things that have happened. But I've had incredible feedback. So it was nice. So the Imperfects, if you want to hear that, you know, jump across on their podcast. It's an enormously successful podcast, and you'll hear why the moment you start to listen. You know,
I think they had 60,000 downloads in the first 24 hours, which was record for them. So
we speak a lot of shit on this podcast now because we've done all the healing stuff a lot early on, and occasionally we'll have an episode where we dip in and out of it.
Oh, this was a bit deep, this one.
Yeah, this had some of that as well. Yeah. So it was. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate those kind words.
You did speak from the heart, and
you haven't listened to it. What are you talking about?
I got really teary. I have listened to it.
You got teary watching the Instagram video.
Yeah.
Not the episode.
No. I got really teary when I first started listening because I could hear in your voice a trembling that I hadn't heard for a while, and I thought I picked up that you were nervous. Just there was a couple of signs, and I just wanted to put my arms around you as you were talking because I knew that you were going to do better than you thought you would because you're speaking from the heart.
Right. Thank you. You still haven't listened to the episode.
I have listened to the episode.
You have not.
I have listened to the episode.
You are lying.
I'm not. I've listened.
This is me. This is me pretending I saw the Amazing Race promo.
Yeah.
No, I have actually listened to the episode. And
how's it when you go? Yeah. And what else happens in the promo, mate? The fact that your colleague went down in a foreign country, and you didn't even notice that it happened.
You haven't listened yet to hear how it ends.
The big moment of the promo.
Huge.
What ends?
How the Imperfects ends.
Yeah, I have.
You've listened to how it ends.
Yeah, they analysed the chat afterwards without me there. Yeah, I listened to that. Yeah, why?
Yeah, okay. I didn't think that you had.
I told you that that's what happens at the end.
No.
What was the ad that played midway through, Chezzi?
I have no idea.
Good question, mate. What happened at the 47th minute?
Oh, my God. I have to go now. I have to go and do a school pickup.
Oh, that's convenient.
The crows are telling me it's time to go.
Crows are here.
Crows are here. Thank you. Thank you for today.
Our pleasure.
Heal well. Hope your eye gets better, Chezzi.
It'll be great by next week. Yep. Amazing.
Good to see you, brother.
You too are stirrers.
Great to see you too, guys. Love you.
Rat bags.
She's going to do it by herself next week. Get those numbers back up.
See you in a fortnight.
You poopheads. Bye.
It's All True, the podcast with Grant and Chezzi Denya.
Bye bye.